What's going on, y'all? It's O'Neil from Tap to O'Neil, and as you guys can see from the title of the video, we're getting margin called. And this is something that I am not proud to tell you guys, but I gotta be transparent. This is something I always gotta let you guys know. You guys know I'm transparent on this channel, so I'm letting you guys know what's happening in the portfolio. Obviously, this is the weekly portfolio update, and we're going to dive straight into it. But I just want to say, like, I'm extremely disappointed in myself with getting this margin call, because this is not something I necessarily want to promote to you guys. A lot of you guys are new investors. Everybody that's been tuning in and supporting, like, this is not something I necessarily want to promote, because even though I'm going to be able to handle what's happening, it's not something I want to promote to a new investor. This type of style of investing. So but yeah, let's not waste no time. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna start out on the phone, mobile version of the app. So you guys can see exactly what's going on, and then we're going to do our 1,000 for our deposit on a laptop. But let's just dive into the portfolio and show you what's going on real quick. So let me get it pulled up on the screen for you guys real quick. And all right, so as you guys can see, we're sitting at $85,405.91, and it's showing up that we have an account deficit, and we are pretty much going to get margin called, and we have to take action. So I'll just show you guys what this looks like. I have to pretty much come up with $5,300 or deposit $5,300 into this account, and I already pretty much put aside things. So on the bottom it's going to show you contact to support. Pretty much you should contact them, let them know how you're going to cover the margin. I already spoke with my specialist. Shout out to Karina. She helped me out this morning with this whole margin call. I pretty much let her know what I'm going to be selling, what I'm going to be depositing, everything that's going on forward to cover the deficit, so that she can know. I can't pull up the chat necessarily right now because the chat closes out for some reason. I would have liked to show you guys that in case you guys ever got margin calls, so you can see exactly what's going on. But either way, this is a learning experience for everybody. This is what your account is going to look like. This is what's going to look like. So it's going to say attention required, cover the margin call. And as you guys can see, it says you have been issued a margin call for $5,417.62. So it gives you the option to deposit funds or sell stocks. So I'm going to do a little bit of both. You guys know I do my weekly $1,000 deposit. I think this week I'm going to do a $2,000 deposit. And then I'm also going to be selling a portion of my stocks just to give myself an extra bit of cushioning. And it's crazy. Even though we got margin called, let me show you guys this real quick. We're up $12,000 on the week, over $12,000. That's a 17.30% gain, which is insane. So you guys are questioning, how can I gain my account grow $12,000 in a week and I still get margin call? Well, it's because of the prior 2 weeks I had opened up a MSTU put. It was a $5.5 put to put credit spread. It was a put credit spread on MSTU, and it pretty much didn't go my way. But the thing I like about Robinhood is, even though it wasn't going to go my way, what Robinhood did, instead of it closing out the trade and me taking a loss, which I kind of would have preferred to take a loss, but what they did instead, they assigned me all of those shares. So the shares that I lost out on, they assigned me. So I'll show you guys my position on MSTU real quick. I have 7,600 shares. I have $41,000 locked into MSTU right now. We're up on the position, but this is not how much shares I want in MSTU. As I said, I do want to hoard my shares on MSTU because I'm expecting a big pump, but not this much. This is way too much shares. Like, this is crazy. I'm obviously going to be selling covered calls to make sure I get rid of some of these shares, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, like, I got wait. They end up assigning me. So I'll show you guys real quick the assignment. So it said, it gave me a $6 put assignment on the put credit spread. Was it a credit spread? Put credit spread. So this is what they did. They assigned me 15 contracts, and that costed me $9,000, which took out all of my margin. That's how much I had in margin buffer. So because I wasn't able to close out my trade earlier and just accept the loss, which would have been like a $300, $400 loss, $500 maximum loss. They ended up assigning me these shares, and this took out all of my margin buffer. So yeah, from this one trade, even though everything else worked out, and we're still up on this position, you know, my other calls that I placed on them, they're still up. I'm up over $1,000 on the calls. It just because I took the assignment, you know, from the put credit spread, you know, that just ended up, you know, making me get margin called. So man, it's a crazy position, man. It's a crazy position. So we're gonna go ahead and switch over to the a laptop real quick, and then I'll do my $2,000 deposit this week, and then we'll dive back into the portfolio, what's going on with the actual portfolio and other things that happen. So stick with me, stick with me. All right, so we're on the laptop version of the app now. As I said, we at $85,413 on the week. We're down about on a day. We're down about $500. Crypto, as you guys know, had a nice pump, even with the government shutdown. Like pretty much, people just been pumping into assets like crypto and gold. And we're up $12,000 on the week, and we went as high as how much was it? How much did we go as high as? We went up almost $20,000 in a week. So we hit $93,000 in the individual investing account. But here's the crazy part: we went down like 18%. That's like $13,000, decline, and then we, leveled out. That was just mainly due to the options that I was opening up. They're extremely volatile. Like I said, guys, do not follow what I'm doing. Use my channel as a means to learn. And I'm not a financial advisor. Like, do not do what I'm doing. So yeah, like I said, my buying power got wiped out. So all of that. Is it gonna let me deposit money? Why is it? Is it gonna let me deposit money? Hold on, guys. Okay, so yeah. All right, so we go to cover margin call. All right, so we'll go to deposit funds. Man, so this is gonna cover. We're gonna do about. No, we're not gonna do the full amount. We're gonna do $2,000, and then we're gonna sell a portion of our stocks. And we already been selling a portion of our stocks. So yeah, so the individual account just once, transfer $2,000, continue with standard. Man. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm gonna do $1,000 next week, but I'm definitely doing it this week. All right, so it says, all right, amount borrowed decreases, instant deposit available. So we're at $87,387. So we still got to cover about $3,300 dollars in buying power. We got to cover that, and we're gonna show you guys exactly what that looks like. But yeah, this is crazy, man. Do not do this, guys. Now, let's go and show you guys what we're up on a month. Up $11,000, $11,613 and 21 cents on the month. That's a 15% gain. The past 3 months, we're up nearly $30,000, $29,732. That just changed to be exact. And year to date, see what we're doing. 10,000. That's not too impressive on the year. Up $20,000 in all time. Up 22. Not too impressive, but we're definitely going to be doing better as the time goes on, as the year goes on. So let's go ahead and go right back into the mobile version of the app and go from there. All right, we're back in the mobile version of the app. As I said, we got 87,000 right now. We do have to cover that extra 3,300. So I'll show you guys real quick what we're gonna do. I spoke with my specialist. Her name was Sabrina. As I said, shout out to Sabrina again. What we're gonna do, we're gonna sell our Apple shares. We have about $4,723 in Apple right now. We're gonna be selling those at market open, and we're also gonna be selling our JP Morgan Chase shares, which we have about 22,000. So that's more than enough to cover the margin, even on top of my $2,000 deposit. But I want to make sure I have a little bit of extra cushioning to protect myself in any way, shape, or form. If the market ends up, open in red in the morning, or we just have a red week. Like we're at a weird place in the market right now, guys. It's a very weird place. The government shut down. We didn't get our job reports. So it's a lot of things up in the air. And some people are saying that we might be pricing in about a 2 basis point rate cut. So, or 2 rate cuts by the end of the year. So I don't know, but that also could mean that the labor market is in real trouble, because if the labor market doesn't have a soft landing when we get our job reports, that can signal that we are in a job recession, and that's not good for the economy. So uh, yeah, that's just what I wanted to say on that. So the new position that I opened up is Nugget. I'll show you guys or talk to you guys about this. This is a leverage ETF that tracks gold basically through gold miners. It's basically gold miners, but they this ETF pretty much moves whenever gold moves and the value of gold. You guys are questioning why I bought into this, or I opened up a credit spread on this. And see, I didn't realize it was going to take about $7,000 in collateral. So this put me in cautionary waters when it came to the margin, you know. So I had the alert that I was on the verge of a margin call, but when my put credit spread on MSTU ended up getting assigned, or I wasn't able to close out before the market ended. Yeah, it was just a combination of these two things. But so the reason why I got into this is because if anything was to happen negative in the market, people are going to be pouring into assets like gold. So I wanted to get into an ETF that tracks gold, and you guys know I love my leverage ETFs. Would not recommend doing this. I would not recommend copying the things that I'm doing. But if I'll show you guys the performance on the week, it's up 6%, which is $9.32 on a month. Has a 41.90% gain. As you guys know, the decline of the dollar is going to increase the price of gold. The more the dollar decreases, the more gold will increase. So that's just a little bit of insight that I have. And yeah, so like year to date it's up 334%. That's up $120. It's a crazy gain. In the past year, 219%. Past 5 years, 87%, 73% gain. And then max all time, it did decline a little bit because it had some. I don't know why it's back in 2011 or 2010 is when it listed. So it declined all the way down, and it's been leveling out, and it's been taking off since there. So yeah, as you guys can see, it's up on the past 5 years. So wouldn't recommend doing what I'm doing, or listening to anything I do. Like, this is just what I'm looking at and what I'm looking into. Do my own due diligence, do my own research. You guys do your own thing. Do not copy things that I'm doing. I cannot stress that enough. I'm not a financial advisor. So I did a horrible job of explaining what a debit spread was, and I still don't even have the best explanation of it. But I was explaining this debit spread that I opened up on BITX, which is doing really well. I opened up a 49 to 49.5 call debit spread, and it's currently up $140, which is 25% gain. So pretty much if it is above $49 or $49.50 at expiration date, which my expiration date is going to be November 7th. If it's above $49 and a half, we'll get a maximum return of $440. So as you guys can see, it's well above the $49. It just shot up to. I opened this. Let me go to BIX. I'll show you guys exactly when I opened this trade up. Okay, so I opened this debit spread up when it went down here, and as you guys can see, it took off. So it's looking pretty good. It's looking really good. As you guys know, Bitcoin, this is a leverage ETF that tracks Bitcoin, and Bitcoin had a massive pump. The thing about Bitcoin is it can have these pumps and then just drop off significantly. So you guys want to be cautious. I would say Bitcoin stays right. I'll show you guys real quick what's my analyst uh how I analyze Bitcoin real quick. So let me see in the past, where was it in the past? Let's see, past 3 months. So I was gauging it off the past 3 months. As you guys can see, we're approaching a double top on Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit a high of 123 or $124 last time, and then it dropped off significantly and went down to it found some support around the $108 range, $108,000 range, and then it's been hovering, consolidating around this area. Then it had a new, um, it broke past this level. See another double top here, and then it went down. So we are approaching another double top. It can move up or down. With double tops, where it peaks out at 124 and we're approaching, and it hit 124 again, it can possibly break past the ceiling of 124 and hit a new all-time high, or it can drop back down. So I don't know how it's gonna move, but I'm just letting you guys know this is a double top, so it's extremely volatile. I don't know how it's gonna move, but I'm hoping it can push past that $124,000 ceiling, and we get a new all-time high. But this is just like how I read the crypto, and then we'll show you guys overall like how crypto moves. It always does this, where it bounces right here, reaches a double top, either goes down and then it explodes, reaches the new high again, and then breaks past that ceiling, and then starts to wither again, and it finds another level of support, which was that $100,000 or $80,000 range, and then it found some new support around the $108,000 range. So yeah, this is just how I analyze. Crypto did really good on the week. Uh, so yeah, my calls on MSTU are performing well, as I showed you guys. We are at 7,600 shares of MSTU, which is crazy. So I'm definitely gonna be selling cover calls. I'm definitely gonna at least sell probably 15 contracts to get rid of the ones that I already had at the $5.5 strike price. And then let's go get into the payments. We did receive a payment from Tesla this week. Tesla is doing this thing, man. Our average cost is at $7.78. Currently up $227.65. And our payout this week was $321.43. That's amazing. On 400 shares, that's about 80 cents per share. Amazing. Amazing. And this is a big jump up from what it was last time, nearly a double, or nearly twice as much as it was last time at 40 cents, nearly 40 cents. It was at 39 cents to be exact. So we nearly doubled the dividend because of the performance of Tesla this past month or a couple weeks. Nifty still down. It still had a little bit of a recovery, so I'm not too mad about that. We did not have a payout this week from Misty. ULTY, you guys know this is my weekly payer. It it didn't move too much. It doesn't move too much throughout the week. Only up 3 cents on the week. Only down $774, and as you guys know, we get $100 from ULTY on a weekly basis, pretty much. That's a breakdown of 9 cents per share, and we're currently holding 1,100 shares. So YMAX, another weekly payer. We are only down $7 with an average cost of $12.90, and our weekly payout this week, they did pretty good, nearly twice as much as we had last time. We're getting about $14 this week. We got about $14 this week, which is about 13 cents on 101 shares. I do not reinvest back into this. I just like to collect the dividends from it. Coney has a nice recovery, only down $244 now. So, definitely approaching that, our average cost of $8.15. Didn't have a payout this week, if I'm not mistaken. Did we? No, we did not have a payout this week. Hui is doing what it does, man. This is crazy. We're up $461. Our dividend payout should be about next week. And so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Our last payout was $154. You guys love that video on TikTok, so shout out to you guys on TikTok. PLTW, it's been doing this thing also. I did have a little bit of a sell off, and I did close out my call on PLTW, which I had a nice return on the call that I closed out. Shout out to the person that told me I should close out. So I got a payout of $730 from the call that we bought on PLTW. Closed it out just before PLTW sold off, so that was a good call on my part. That's a $530 gain. I'll show you guys the breakdown. So I opened up the contract for $200, and I closed it out for 700. Well, no, I got a credit for closing it out of $730, which give me a realized profit of $530. That's a 265% gain. And as I said, I closed this out just before it dropped or PLTW sold off. So shout out to the person that told me I should close out. And this was a lot higher. That call was a lot higher. I should have closed out a little bit earlier. It was about a 300 gain, but 265 is close enough. Moving on from there, everything else is pretty much the same. As I said, I did sell some other positions, and I'm planning on selling my Apple and JP Morgan or Chase shares. Reason why I'm selling those shares is because I'm looking to consolidate my portfolio anyway, so I'm okay with getting rid of these shares. I'm not going to have to worry about short-term capital gains because these are the dinosaurs of my portfolio. They did perform really good throughout the years. I've had these shares for years. Like I think I started purchasing them, and I purchased my first share on first share on Apple in this account back in 2020, August 23rd to be exact. So amazing for me. And then we had a 4-to-1 split, and I just let it do what it did. So it's a shame letting these shares go, but I gotta do what I gotta do. I'm definitely changing up my strategy. This is definitely how I would recommend to start investing. Start out on companies that are going to perform well, and that you always things like you got your Apple phone, so make sure you invest in things like this. We also are getting rid of our JP Morgan Chase shares. I dropped this screenshot of the performance on this in the Discord. Shout out to you guys in the Discord. Make sure you guys join up in the Discord. That's free to join. And I also bought this way back when you guys see that it's been paying me dividends. I bought my first share back in April 14th, 2020. So yeah, these little shares that I bought have been performing really good over the years. That means time in the market beats timing the market. Remember that, guys. And I do plan on getting rid of this. I only hold about one share of SPY or SPY, the S&P 500. I'm just get rid of it because there's no point. But yeah, that pretty much covers the individual investing account. And we got our traditional account. As I said, we did buy ULTY last week, or was it the week before? And this been paying us dividends. We had a $74.27 dividend. That's about that's about 9 cents per share. As I said, we only hold about 813 shares on it. Only down $154. So in about another week, we're going to be net positive on that. Tech L is doing what it does, performing extremely well, up $200 from experimental position that I opened up, only holding 5 shares. And TSLL, we just hold these shares from the last time, up $11. Might consolidate a little bit more, and we have about $111 in cash or buying power in this portfolio. And then our Roth IRA, if you guys were to copy or mimic any type of portfolio this is something I would do. Definitely do this in your Roth IRA. As I said, SCHD and JetQ are my dividend kings. These are going to be helping me help pay for my lifestyle when I get to retirement. And yeah, because if you're in my generation, we're probably not gonna have Social Security by the time we get to retirement. So yeah, that's why I invest in SCHD and JetQ, $8.40 every single day to be exact. And then for growth, I have SCHD, and I only put about $6 into that on a weekly basis. See, it's performing really well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and dive into the overall account. I'll show you guys what the overall account is sitting at now. All right, $94,623. Man, all right, so no. All right, we're at $96,407. Man, this is crazy. I would have been really upset if I got to my first 100K on a margin call, man. And now that we're closing in, I definitely got to change up my strategy. I definitely got to, adjust my strategy, play it a lot more safe. I'm definitely going to be focusing more on ETFs. I got to do a lot more research. I'm still figuring it out as I go. Only about $4,000 for my first 100K, man. This is crazy, man. It's a crazy feat. You know, uh, I'm just, I'm proud. I'm proud of myself. Obviously, not too proud of myself this week for what happened. Us getting this margin call. But yeah, I'm showing you guys. I'm being transparent. I'm showing you guys what's happening. I'm showing you guys how to maneuver, how to adjust, and I hope this is useful and helpful to any of you guys, man. You guys can do it. Doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from. Uh, make sure you guys are investing and start investing today. The things that I did, I show you guys my purchases on Apple. I purchased about $100 on Apple, $100 into JP Morgan Chase back in 2020. I've been doing this for years, man, and you guys see the growth. It's over $1,000 in growth, 300% gains, things like that. You just gotta wait it out. Time in the market beats timing the market. Always remember that. You don't have to invest the same way that I'm investing, because the way that I'm investing is structured, you know, for my lifestyle and what I'm doing. But that doesn't mean you can't start investing today. It doesn't matter what dollar amount. You can start with as little as $1, even less than that. No, it's probably about $1. But yeah, you can start with $1, man. Just start dollar cost averaging into the S&P 500, anything, man. Um, some of you guys been asking me questions, taking advantage of the Discord. Shout out to y'all on the Discord. Y'all be being more active. We getting new members every single day, and it's an amazing thing, to see how the channel is growing, to see how the community is growing. People are tapping into their full potential, and I'm glad to lead the charge. I'm no better than any of you guys. I'm just a normal guy. I'm not doing anything special. I don't think so. I mean, I am doing something special, but I'm not doing something that you can't do. You know what I'm saying? Anything that I'm doing is something you can do. May not be to the exact T, but you can mimic what I'm doing to a certain degree. You guys seen the last video on the smaller account. See what I did with the smaller account, how I grew that in a week. And everything was pretty much good on that. I make that account a lot safer. I make safer trades on that account. Obviously because it's not my account, and I'm managing that account. But you guys can see the potential of growth. So. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I want to pretty much cover. Be safe this week. Be safe this week, man. I'll try to give you guys an update. I think the next video I might be dropping is a dividend video showing you guys how much I make from dividends on a monthly basis, because one of you guys asked that in the comment section. But yeah, if you guys felt like this was useful or helpful anyway, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your post bell notifications, join up on the Discord, which is free to join, and yeah, leave a comment down below for feedback. And without further ado, it's Captain O'Neill, and I'm signing out.